All set then for a very special match to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Stella Artois Championships.
Serve. Play.
Becker against Edberg for the 36th time. And appropriately, their last meeting was the 1996 final here at the Queen's Club, Boris winning 6-4 and 7-6. Backhand's lost, none of its elegance.
Love 15.
Well, one of the all-time greats, if not the best single-handed backhand of all time, Stefan Edberg. What a shot that is. I tell you, these guys are anxious too. Saw them in the locker room. Warmed Stefan up. And they're all pretty keen.
Love 30.
Boris, a little slow on those first couple. Takes him a while to get going these days. All the injuries, it takes us all a while to get going. Except for Stefan, he still looks fit as ever. It's not fair, really. Well, covering a bit better there. Look at that volley. Easy as you like.
Doesn't play competitively these days, Stefan. Hits with some youngsters, working with his federation. He plays a lot of squash, though, and his team won the Swedish team championships. And guess what? He plays number 1 for them.
That's probably why he moves so well. Tennis and squash are similar movements, particularly for a serve volleyer. Go around the net. A little lunging. Ooh, that's a good volley. Getting in quickly then, Boris.
Playing a professional set, first to 8, provided you have a clear 2-game advantage. If we get to 8 all, they'll play a tie-break.
Game Becker. First game.
Good hold for Boris. Hey, now look, guys, you're not allowed to sit down after 1 game.
That's right. He's only umpire's advising him of the rules.
This is the head-to-head record. As you can see, Becker with a 25-10 advantage. They met 3 times here at the Queen's Club. And Boris won all of those, but of course I suppose the one thing that Stefan would point to, hey, we played in 3 Wimbledon finals and I won 2 of them.
That's right.
Especially behind the courts. Find a seat quickly,
That's
please.
what it counts, the big ones.
Stefan Edberg to serve.
And I think Boris would give back quite a few of those other matches to take one of those Wimbledon titles back off Stefan.
15 love.
Of course, when they were playing, they were allowed to sit down at the end of the first game.
30 love.
It's a great touch. Edberg getting in as quickly as he ever did. Always move very quickly into the net and around the net, of course. And I think that the kick serve that he has helped that. Wow.
30-15.
Just getting around the outside of that. Didn't have to move at all.
Boris is walking. He says fair enough. That goes down as an ace. Corrected call. Saying I've never done that before to him.
Game ended. 1 game more.
Stefan here with his family, his wife Annette and their young son and daughter. I know Stefan took them to the Tower of London the other day. Not sure he threatened to lock the kids up in the dungeons if they didn't behave. Great for them to see their dad play.
As first serve.
Oh, well done, Stefan. Over around that one. Still got the hands. Well, they might have slowed down a little bit, but tell you what, these guys hit the ball as well as they ever did. Once they get there, probably better, in actual fact, at times.
Oh, yeah.
30-15.
Boris plays competitively. He was involved in an exhibition match in Halle in Germany last Sunday against Michael Stich, another Wimbledon champion, of course. And you'll have seen him play a little bit at the Royal Albert Hall, the Honda Classic.
40-15.
Of all the players, Boris probably plays more than anybody. Plays not so much on the official ATP tour, but there's a lot of exhibition matches that he puts on himself, is engaged in. Well, the weakest side of Edberg, but this time getting across very quickly. And the tough thing about playing against a guy like Stefan is that he knew, you knew, and everybody else knew that was his weakest side. So he used to go and serve there on the big points, and he was ready for it.
Game Becker. Becker leads 2-1.
On serve then, 2-1 at the start of this special match. And let's just take you a little bit further down memory lane by reminding you of the achievements of these two outstanding champions, starting with Boris Becker, the younger man at 35, 6'3", 49 singles titles won, including 6 Grand Slams, twice the Australian Open champion, 3 times the Wimbledon champion, just 1 US Open, and of course the one to elude him, the French Open. He never won a clay court title, twice a semi-finalist at Roland Garros. He very nearly won the Monte Carlo big clay court tournament, so he led Thomas Muster by 2 sets to love and match points, but Muster came back at him. So that's Boris. And the slightly older opponent, Stefan Edberg, who is 37 years of
quickly,
age,
please.
the Swede.
Time.
41 singles titles, also 6 Grand Slams, 2 Australian, 2 Wimbledon, 2 US. He too couldn't win the French, lost to Michael Chang in the 89 final.
Seats quickly, please, behind
Both,
the
of
players.
course, former
Players
world
ready.
number
Thank you.
ones. His trademark into our backhand. Not many people can play that one.
Absolutely correct. That is his trademark. It can come at any time. Well, that is a blistering speed on that forehand. Edberg did well to control and get it back, and just goes to show if you can get to the ball, it's it just as well.
15-30.
I think that there's a couple of things you want to watch for these players. Definitely their backhands, particularly Stefan Edberg's, but the way Edberg moves into the net. Oh, well, doesn't matter how well he moves, he's not going to get that one back. We talked about Tim Henman moving in quickly behind his serve. Edberg does the same. Becker's got a couple of break points.
Foot falls.
There's another one of those Becker backhands.
You're off.
30-40.
Wow, what a volley.
Juice.
You might have seen a couple from Tim Henman or Greg Rosetsky this week. They were that good, but that's about it. Well, that's what happens when you get into a match and you haven't played an awful lot. You just overstretch. Foot starts slipping around a bit. Trying to go in the body. Good idea. Boris just had enough time to get out of the way.
And set up the third break point.
Oh, bit of a miss hit, but that'll do.
Becker leads 3-1.
First break of serve then to Boris Becker, whose career really took off here. First ever title he won at the Queen's Club in 1985 as a 17-year-old, and just 3 weeks later they were crowning him the Wimbledon champion. Oh, the reaction still very sharp.
15 love.
There's an old Stefan Edberg of old there, and then Boris Becker of old. I don't think Stefan could believe that Boris would get that back.
$30 love. $40 love.
More big serves from Boris.
Yeah, 116 miles an hour, that's not bad at all. What was he saying the other day? That he served one up in the 130s, was his fastest ever.
Just out. That would have been just too much. Well, pulled Boris off the court and ended him into Wimbledon if he pulled that one off. He's playing as well as anybody on the circuit at the moment. You would have loved that one.
Game Becker. Becker leads 4-1.
So Boris Becker in control early on. Pat, I was looking up the records. You played both these guys here at Queen's. Just once against Boris, I'm afraid you lost. You played Stefan 3 times, won 1, lost 2. What was it like playing these two when they were at their prime?
Well, Boris, for me, I always had problems with Boris. I'm not the Lone Ranger there, of course, but the difficulty was when you felt you had him in control of his game, he could just produce aces and clean winners from literally nowhere. And that was always very frustrating for me. I'd sort of work my way into a winning position and then he'd literally within 5 minutes run height and serve a bunch of aces, break serve a bunch of aces, and you know, he'd be on the back foot again. As far as Stefan was concerned, it didn't seem to matter where you return the ball, he would be there hitting a great volley. He was just so quick around the net. And, you know, I have to say that I think he's the greatest athlete that I've ever seen on the tennis court. I mean, I suppose that's a big statement, but you know, Bjorn Borg is a great athlete. I didn't see him an awful lot, unfortunately, but Stefan is certainly the greatest athlete I've ever played against. And I look at him now, he's still moving like that. Look at that. See how close Edberg got in. That kick serve, because it bounces up, it's not that fast. He can actually get into the net that little bit closer than most people hitting their first volley. That's the advantage of not having bullet-like serve. As long as it's reasonably accurate. Also means that you're going to get a lot of volleys. So you have to be a great volleyer. That's exactly what he is.
40.
Big kick serve.
Game Edberg. Becker leads 4-2.
Sun's in the eyes, you see. They live in northern Sweden. They don't see the sun too much there.
This might be the first time his little boy can actually remember his dad playing. I've seen him. Last time he would have played with been a real baby. Too good.
Fifteen left.
Man, what a passing shot from How Stefan got it back, I'll never know.
Well, this is literally turning back the clock. Just fabulous.
Well, you know, Boris has playing quite a lot, so you'd imagine he would be sharp, and Edberg's going to step up here a little bit. You see some fantastic tennis now. Now he's just got his feel of the match. Thrust weak. There you go. I just know how competitive Stefan is. He's just phenomenally competitive, even in practice. If he has a chance to beat you 6-love, he will beat you 6-love. Even if you've played him a million times and you're stiff and sore, he doesn't care. He's going to annihilate you if he can. So a bit of a loose one. Let's hit Stefan on the full. Didn't get in that quickly, but he cut right underneath it. Didn't let it drop too much.
Well, the old ploy of serving to the Edberg forehand isn't working in this game. 2 wonderful returns. And the chance for the Swede to break back.
Game Edberg, ball change. Becker leads 4-3.
Lovely to see the stands virtually full. They've all stayed on to see these great champions play. And Pat, I mean, it's one of those lovely talking points in the clubhouse afterwards. The greatest player you ever saw. I mean, I always say Rod Laver for me personally, but these two have got to be up there in the pantheons of the really great champions.
Well, I think the individual shots are as good as anybody's, and their competitive nature. And for Boris Becker to win Wimbledon at the age of 17 is absolutely phenomenal. And you see how difficult it is to be a great serve volley at a young age, or to be at any age. You know, we don't have that many out here on the circuit now. The guys refuse to come in. It's just too tough. But yet at 17, he was the best in the world. You know, and what's quite amazing to me is the standard these guys are playing. I mean, that was one of their all-time great games. I mean, there wasn't a mistake in there. There was nothing but winners and fantastic tennis. And if you looked at the speed clock, there was not exactly, slow serves. Boris was one serve down there at 127 miles an hour. That's faster than Tim Henman's hit this week. So they're keen, they're sharp, and they're playing what grass court tennis is supposed to be played like, not hard court tennis played on grass as it is these days.
That's Angela Rippon, newsreader and dancer extraordinaire, that famous Morecambe and Wise Christmas show.
Well, Stefan getting that much pace on it, not playing quite as often as some of the other guys in the circuit. I think he was just trying to get a few first serves in. Just needs a little bit more pace if he's going to go into the body.
30-15.
Yes, so far, Edberg is averaging 106 miles an hour on his first serve, Becker 112. But then Stefan never had a fast serve. It was all about kicking it in with a lot of spin and getting right on top of the net for the first volley.
High percentages. We've got a loose ball toss.
And they're all about getting stuck. First double fault of the match.
That was always his change-up serve. He'd serve mainly to the back end and get in quickly. Then every once in a while he'd the one out to the forehand. Almost a surprise tactic. Very hard to pick it.
No, it's not.
4 games all.
For all then, a break of serve each. Becker to serve. Remember, they're playing first to 8. There would be a tiebreak at 8 all.
Flat. First serve. Love.
Nice deep serve. Again for Boris. Don't see too many. Yeah, you don't see too many mistakes of his back end even these days. He's too happy about that one. Hit the practice shot in the net as well. Good serve.
Well, that's 131 miles an hour. Saying that we never showed Boris's son in the end because it was
Going back.
Oh, that was in as well. Unbelievable serving.
Well, I don't think Edberg thought it was in.
Becker leads. 5
Where's
games to
Hawkeye? Do we
4.
have Hawkeye for the old guys? Where is he? Well, we do. There you go. And it's still going in the air. It hasn't pounced yet.
What if he...
Look at that.
Well out, yes.
Well, Stefan always was a cheat, so I wasn't surprised. Well, I was a bit surprised that it was called out. A very fair player indeed, Stefan Edberg. I don't know. You know, Stefan is one of the very, very few Swedes who actually serve volleys. When you think about all the Swedish players, they're all double-handed backhands and stay at the back of the court. In fact, Stefan was a baseliner who had a double-handed backhand. I played him in the final of what was regarded as the European Junior Championships in Milan, called Avenire Cup. And he had a double-handed backhand. Never came near the net. A couple of years later, I saw him on the circuit. And he had to play Wally Masur, Davis Cup Australian mate of mine. I said, "Dower, he just stays back and double-handed backhand. He's just usual Swede." He always killed me when he came off the court. I had my mouth open and cast. And I saw Edberg serve volleying first and second serves and had a single-handed backhand. Wally wasn't too happy about the advice I gave him. I thought I was seeing things.
No reprieve for Edberg. No doubt that was his second double fault. The only man to have completed a Grand Slam of all 4 junior titles at the Grand Slams in 1 year.
30-15.
Of course, Boris, when he won the Wimbledon title in 1985, was younger than the junior champion. Leonardo Lavalle from Mexico was the junior champion.
Wow, look at how quick was Edberg in then. Punch and the volley. We mightn't have seen too many volleys this week, but getting their fair share in this exhibition match. That's all we need to do is see Boris dive and roll across the grass court, and then we'll all be happy. Oh, that was accurate.
40-30.
Not a bad volley at all to get that across court. Wide enough, not quite far enough out of his reach. Becker of old.
Flat, first up. Game Edberg. Five games all.
Dad levels at 5-all in the first. He's enjoying it. And peeping over the top there is Noah, Boris's son, hiding from us all of a sudden.
He's seen it so many times. The old 1-2. Big serve, volley back across court, cover the line.
Well, that was a second serve ace. Skid through.
Becker leads 6 games to 5.
It was frustrating playing against Boris as well. It didn't look like he got to the ball all that comfortably. But what he does have is incredible balance once he gets there. And it almost looks like he's lunging for several volleys where Edberg would sort of be down and look like he's balanced. But Boris would almost his timing to get down to certain shots, or his timing to run across and hit a passing shot. He would time it so he didn't get there quickly and had to slow down and stop, then hit the ball and pick up speed again. He would just run smoothly, hit the ball, and then smoothly back.
Obviously, there's great camaraderie on the seniors tour, Pat, which you play on. But once you're on the court, is it still as competitive as ever?
Some are more competitive than others. I'll give you one guess who's the most competitive.
Mr. McEnroe?
Good guess.
Time.
Probably the second most competitive is another one that we're having a look at right now. You know, you can certainly. Once you walk on that court, it sort of all comes back again, and we all like to play well. Some of us really need to win. The guys that need to win, and the guys that play the best. I like to just get out there and hit a few decent balls and have a good sweat. You win, you win.
15 minutes.
That's a classic example of what I was talking about before. Look how smoothly Boris gets across there. Almost looks like he's in slow motion. Doesn't quickly snap across there. Just turns smoothly, all balance. That's another one.
15-30.
Smoothly moves his body over there. Because he's a big fella with a long reach, so it's hard to get a serve past him at the pace that Edberg's serving at the moment. Which will give Stefan a couple more matches under his belt, and he'd pick the pace up. Well, it's almost like a second nature, isn't it? Second serve, under pressure, virtually hits the line, comes in. It's a perfect volleys. I hate this guy. I really do. Oh, another backhand pass. Again, very smooth moving. Gives Boris a break point.
Wonderful depth on that first volley from Edberg, right under the baseline.
Tell you what, he didn't miss many smashes. He's just so quick getting back. Great leap. Always in good position. It's a rarity.
Advantage Becker.
Even for today. I should think that I still consider him to have the best backhand volley I've ever seen. I think there'd be very few players on the circuit in that era who would disagree.
Quiet, please. Thank you. Choose.
Well, that was a chance for Becker. The serve was a little short, set up invitingly for his backhand. Edberg holds, it's 6 games all, but no tiebreak at this stage. It'll only be if we get to 8 all.
6 games all.
Again, Edberg moving in quickly. And you'd say, well, his serve just sits there, and, you know, why can't you just hit it for a winner? Well, it's a lot harder to get pace when it's above your shoulder and any shot in tennis. There's a deadly backhand. It's just a nice juicy serve straight onto the backhand there.
.30-15.
123 mile an hour. First serve from Becker, bringing out the big serve when he needs it. That was what he was able to do time and time again during his career.
.40-15.
Another good serve. That's just great serving. I mean, all round, this is a
Becker leads 7 games to 6.
surprisingly high standard. You know, play on the circuit here, and with these guys, well, not really Stefan, he doesn't play that much, but put into Boris every once in a while. He certainly had a lot of injury problems the first year he came on the circuit. He pulled out a lot, but he's got himself back in shape, and that's what often happens when you retire and you don't keep up the training. Once you get back on the court, all of a sudden the body aches and you have a few weaknesses, and he hasn't got an ounce of fat on him.
It's a lovely way, isn't it, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of this event. First final, John McEnroe beat Victor Pecci of Paraguay. Pecci was a French Open champion, very fine player, but I mean it has become such a fixture now in the tennis calendar, and undoubtedly once again established as the pre-Wimbledon tournament.
Yes, that's right. They had the tournament, of course, in Germany, in Halle.
Time.
And that, for a while there, attracted, quite a lot of the big names. But I think people realise that this really is a better time, particularly with this typical English weather that we've had. Not a drop of rain for a whole week.
Settle down quickly,
Getting
please.
assaulted.
Players are ready. Thank you.
Edberg serving to stay in the match at 6-7.
Oh, yeah.
15 love.
I can't believe how well these guys are playing. It really is incredible. I suppose they do know each other's games pretty well, don't they? Just did a few double faults today, Stefan. 3 in total. That's the danger thing about Boris, as I was saying. Where do you serve to him? We know how good his backhand is, inside-out backhand. He's got a great reach. If you don't quite get it wide enough, he'll smash it back. That's where you serve.
30 all.
Wow.
If only you'd known that when you were playing, Boris.
I knew that, but he promised he knew that. He knew that I knew that. Yeah.
30-40.
Terrific return yet again on the backhand from Becker, and it's match point.
Came in, not surprising. Stefan serving a couple of double faults. Doesn't play quite as much as Boris does. But apart from those couple of double faults, what a great match. The standing was just phenomenal. Winners, great volleys, great movement. Really turning back the clock.
And lovely that everybody around this court is standing to salute these two great champions who, as Pat Cash was saying, have provided us with a rich fare, and perhaps appropriate that Boris Becker made it 4 wins out of 4 against Stefan Edberg at the Queen's Club. Let's hope one day they'll play here again. Makes you want to get out there yourself?
Not really. I don't know if I can keep up with these guys. That was some great tennis, and you know, both very sharp. As I said, Stefan not playing quite as much as Boris, but boy, you know, if you talk about being fit and quick around the net, and perhaps that's all that squash workout is the thing to do. I wanted to go back and start playing some squash now.
Right, well, both gentlemen are down there with Sue Barker.
Well, I've got to congratulate you on a fantastic match and tell you that Wimbledon have been on the phone and they've got a couple of wild cards for you if you want them. Fancy 5 sets, Stefan?
No, I don't. I think there was just about enough today, so it's nice coming out here in the afternoon, and it's really great to be back here at Queen's Club. Brings back a lot of memories. I played here all my life, nearly, and it's great to be back. Thanks.
And Boris, it was a repeat of 96. You won again.
Yeah, but then usually go on and say, but then in the Wimbledon, Stefan beat me. So this time, no, it was, as Stefan said, it was great to be back, great for the invitation for the 25th anniversary of the Stella Artois. It was a big part of my life as well. It was my first victory here as a professional. I'm going to say 18 years ago, believe it or not. And it's now...
You haven't changed.
Thank you, thank you.
But it is important, isn't it? And I know it was a big stepping stone in your career.
That's right. I remember my parents sitting up there, didn't know they flew in overnight to watch me play my first final here against Johan Kriek. And well, ever since then, I've kind of enjoyed my grass court season here in England. And now I'm up on the television booth working with you, also for Wimbledon for the next couple of weeks. But thanks, Stefan, for you coming out of sort of retirement. I haven't seen you much, but you play the same backhand volley, the same serve, the same things. So it's good to be playing tennis with you.
The backhand was there, wasn't it, Stefan? Fantastic shot.
Yeah, the backhands probably will be there even if I wake up in the middle of the night. So that's not a problem. There's other parts of the games that are not working quite as well. But I really enjoy playing tennis, and it was great to play against Boris here today. It brings back memories from '96. He won again here, but maybe he'll give me another chance.
It's great for all of us to see it. And I know your family are over there. Probably the first time your kids have seen you play. Do you think they were proud of Dad?
I would hope so. They haven't seen play me much, but it's nice to have them here.
Absolutely. And Boris, we were watching the speed gun. You told us to turn it off, but I'm afraid we didn't. You were over 130.
Yeah, but only once. I remember that. So.
And it wasn't the best preparation because we had you up in the booth working on the final as well.
But that's the good part now. I can enjoy my tennis more. I come out of the Stella Artois, see old friends, work on the television, have a little sweat in the afternoon, so the beer will even taste better tonight.
Well, it was wonderful to watch. It brought back so many memories. I'm sure you want to say a big thank you to Stefan Edberg and Boris Becker.